Imagine living in a place your entire life. Imagine your parents and grandparents living there before you. Imagine building your home, your memories, your livelihood, and your community in that place. Now imagine waking up one morning and being told that everything must go. This is the reality faced by thousands of residents of Nurpur Shahan, one of Islamabad's oldest settlements located near the historic Bari Imam Shrine at the foothills of Margila Hills. In April 2026, Nurpur Shahan became the center of a major controversy when the Capital Development Authority launched a large-scale anti-encroachment operation. Hundreds of homes were demolished, thousands of residents faced displacement, and violent clashes followed. But this issue is much bigger than demolished buildings. It raises important questions about human rights, urban planning, government responsibility, and the rights of ordinary citizens. In this documentary, we explore the history of Nurpur Shahan, the events that led to the recent demolitions, the legal and social issues involved, and the possible solutions to this ongoing crisis. To understand the current situation, we must first understand the history behind it. Nurpur Shahan is not a newly established settlement. It is one of the oldest communities in Islamabad and has existed for decades. Between 1961 and 1967, the CDA acquired more than 2,125 acres of land in the area through a series of land acquisition awards. According to the residents, the land was acquired with promises that displaced families would be properly rehabilitated and provided alternate arrangements. However, many of these promises were never fulfilled. Over the years, various proposals were discussed. A CDA board meeting in 1972 acknowledged the problem and halted certain expansion plans. Later in 1990, authorities proposed a model village scheme to accommodate affected families. Yet these commitments remained largely unimplemented. As decades passed, families continued living in Nurpur Shahan, raising generations in the area and building strong social, cultural, and economic ties to the community. What began as a land acquisition issue gradually transformed into a long-standing dispute between residents and state authorities. The conflict escalated dramatically in April 2026. The CDA launched a large anti-encroachment operation aimed at removing what it considered illegal structures in Nurpur Shahan. One of the most heavily affected areas were Noori Bagh Mohalla. Entire sections of the neighborhood were demolished and nearly 200 houses were reportedly razed in a single day. For residents, these demolitions represented far more than destruction of buildings. Homes, businesses, livelihoods, and personal belongings were suddenly at risk. As tensions increased, clashes broke out between residents and law enforcement agencies. According to reports, some residents threw stones and set government vehicles on fire. In response, police used tear gas and batons to disperse crowds. Both residents and officials suffered injuries. Following the clashes, police registered cases against hundreds of individuals under serious charges, including provisions of the Anti-Terrorism Act. The events transformed what was initially presented as an anti-encroachment operation into a major social and political conflict, attracting national attention. Beyond the physical destruction, the crisis raised serious legal and human rights concerns. One of the main controversies involves court orders that residents and advocacy groups claim were ignored during the operation. A Supreme Court stay order issued in 2015 sought to prevent summary evictions of informal settlements across the country. Additionally, in June 2025, the Islamabad High Court directed authorities to develop a rehabilitation plan known as the Model Village Project for affected families in Nurpur Shahan. Human rights organizations argued that the demolition drive proceeded without proper notice, adequate consultation, or meaningful rehabilitation arrangements. They also claimed that the evictions violated Article 9 of Pakistan's Constitution, which protects the right to life and human dignity. The issue therefore extends beyond property disputes. It concerns the relationship between citizens and the state, and whether development can be pursued without safeguarding the rights and welfare of vulnerable communities. To understand the issue fairly, it is important to examine the government's perspective as well. The CDA argues that the land occupied by Nurpur Shahan falls within Islamabad's master plan, particularly in Sector F4. and that many of the structures are unauthorized encroachments on state-owned land. According to officials, the operation was legally authorized and intended to reclaim public land for planned urban development. The authority also maintains that compensation and alternative arrangements were provided to many original landowners decades ago. From this viewpoint, the demolition drive represents an effort to enforce planning regulations and to protect public assets. Supporters of this position argue that allowing unauthorized settlements to expand undermines urban planning and creates long-term challenges for infrastructure, environmental protection, and city management. These arguments highlight the complex balancing act between development objectives and social realities. Residents tell a very different story. Many families argue that they have lived in Nurpur Shahan for generations and that their connection to the area cannot simply be erased through legal documents or administrative decisions. According to community members, rehabilitation promises made over decades were never properly fulfilled. They also argue that existing housing schemes proposed by authorities are insufficient for the large number of families affected. For many residents, the issue is not only about housing, it is about dignity, identity, and survival. The loss of a home often means the loss of employment opportunities, social support networks, and access to essential services. Residents believe they are being punished for failures in urban policy that were not created by them. Their demands center on fair treatment, meaningful consultation, and sustainable rehabilitation rather than forced eviction. As we conclude, the story of Nurpur Shahan is not simply a story about land. It is a story about people. It is about the consequences of decades of unfilled promises, policy failures, and competing visions of development. Based on our research, several recommendations emerge. First, all forced eviction operations should be halted until fair and lawful rehabilitation measures are established. Second, authorities should fully comply with judicial directives and ensure accountability where court orders have been ignored. Third, a comprehensive right-based framework should be developed for all informal settlements in Islamabad. Finally, affected families must be included in decision-making processes and provided fair compensation or alternative housing. The future of Islamabad should not be built by excluding its most vulnerable residents. A truly modern city is not measured only by its buildings and roads, but by how it protects the rights, dignity, and well-being of all its people. Thank you for watching.